Hello and a very warm welcome to Meghan and Harry News YouTube channel. Hi, I'm Alex and I hope all is good with you. This is from yesterday, a BBC article which asks why is Meghan and Harry more popular in the USA as opposed to the UK, and I thought I would correct some of the nonsense in this. This is it here, why Americans seem more pro-Harry than Brits. That is the title. Notice they use the word seem, which means gives the impression of being something or having particular quality. It doesn't mean it's factual or it's the truth, it just seems that way. Though the filter of the mass media, it would clearly seem that USA is more favourable to Harry than the UK, but this is just the media, which only makes up a tiny, minute minority of the public, and in the UK it is so biased that it is a complete distortion of what the public really think. It continues on. The US may have fought the Revolutionary War, the one we call the American War of Independence, to rid themselves of British royal rule, but they have never shed their enduring fascination with the British royal family, and many are now captivated by the Sussex drama that is being played out on their own shores. The USA was a good choice of country to go for Meghan and Harry, because if they had gone to, say, Canada, Australia or New Zealand, all of these are in the Commonwealth, and it seems the media in those countries are also very biased and against Meghan and Harry. It continues, Harry and Meghan have their detractors in America, but they are far fewer in number and far less vitriolic in the UK. Well, yes, that is because the firm don't have as much power over the media in the US as they do in the UK. They have a foothold here and there in the US, but not like in the UK, where it seems nearly every media outlet seems to have pledged allegiance to the crown. And as we have witnessed over the last week, we'll say the most, as the BBC put it, we'll say the most over-the-top, hateful and vitriolic things in order to paint them in a bad light, in order to get the UK public to dislike them. And we all know the reason why this media smear campaign is so targeted against Meghan and Harry in the UK, and that is because they left the royal family and are financing themselves and not taking money from the British taxpayer anymore. Hence highlighting that the royal family still take money from the pockets of every working UK citizen when they obviously don't need to, as they are one of the richest families in the world. And this is why this smear campaign is so over the top and so omnipresent in the UK, but also explains why it is so in the Commonwealth countries as well. It continues, one of the couple's central complaints about their time in Britain is that they were constrained by the strict pecking order within the firm. No, that is not really correct. Their complaint was that the royal family were unhappy that Meghan and Harry's popularity was outshining others who were the heirs to the throne, and so therefore they started a smear campaign against them to diminish their popularity. This smear campaign became so bad that they ended up leaving the UK because of the hatred produced in the general public. In the US, their story of how they were mistreated by the British press and by Harry's closest relatives is received with much greater sympathy. Well, why wouldn't you? It's very evident and provable how they have been mistreated by the press, so why wouldn't they? It continues, Harry has complained that he and Meghan were sacrificed to the press as the palace worked to protect more senior members of the family at their expense. No, that's not what they said. They stated that they deliberately leaked stories, many untrue stories to the media, to deliberately make Meghan and Harry look bad, while attempting to make Will, Kate, Charles, Camilla, etc. make them look good. It continues on, the strict hierarchy within the royal family, based purely on the order in which children were born, has been clearly understood by Brits for centuries. In America it seems not only bizarre, but verging on callous, as well as self-defeating. Why would any institution try to downplay a couple of its brightest stars? Ultimately, Americans are flattered that when seeking freedom, the Sussexes chose to make their new home in America, the land of the free, a place Americans like to believe where everyone can create their own opportunities in a society free of the class structures that still exist in Britain. This is true. The class system in Britain is alive and kicking, but I would imagine there is a similar system in the USA. where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, but it is not as visibly obvious as it is in the UK. It continues on, for the couple to maintain the affection of Americans, they will need to move on from their stories about how they were mistreated in Britain and come up with a second act. They'll have to demonstrate what it is they believe. They can contribute, but were prevented from doing when working members of the royal family. So this article totally glosses over the fact that Meghan and Harry were driven out by the UK, by the relentless negative media and campaign against them, that it was driven by the firm itself, and that the firm does not have that kind of power or leverage over the media in the USA. That is possibly the biggest takeaway from this. This story is trying to cover that up. This whole saga from day one has been driven by the jealousy of Meghan and Harry's popularity, and that jealousy was coming from the royal family. And that popularity is still there, despite all the smear campaigns and lies that have been put out over the last 3 years. And this is evident in the sales of Harry's book, which are through the roof, and this BBC article is trying to prove that it isn't the case. It doesn't work. Please leave a comment and share your opinion, and I'll see you in the next video.